some people simply would taste this new cocktail and like, oh, the flavor is a bit off, oh, this and that, yeah, it's a bit exciting, it's a bit this and that, but then they would go back to their pina colada that they've been drinking for a very long time, if you forgive the analogy. They know what they're getting when they order a pina colada. Do you know what I'm saying? So some of us are pina colada people, and some of us experiment on cocktails that might leave you blind, okay? That is a harsh example, but what does the future hold for PoE 2 as well as Path of Exile 1? My friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gyro. Who I think this video would be useful for are beginners who are planning to join either of the games. There are always new people coming to this brightly lit fire right now of media. Everyone is talking about Path of Exile 2, as well as for some veterans, for some people like me, who are interested in both games, who are trying Path of Exile 2. Let's align our thoughts. We don't have to agree, but I welcome a nice, mutually stimulating, constructive discussion in the comments below the video. Let's share the points. So, PoE 2 is based on skill. Yes, you can have a good build, you can have a meme or bad build in PoE 2 from the first encounter if you're not dodging, if you're not using some kind of awareness, if you're not basically focused and dispensing a lot more energy in the process, if you're not a lot more on, you kind of gonna die and you're gonna hit that brick wall and you're gonna get frustrated. That is to my beginners who are considering to play either of the games. PoE 2 is gonna test you straight up with no excuses, mate, okay? That's what will separate us into two fan bases, so to speak, yeah? Continuing to speak about the same thing, next point is that PoE 2 is inexcusably hard. It is being nerfed somewhat, and as I posted in the previous video, I kind of shared my thoughts on some patch notes coming out. They are starting, Grinding Gear Games people, they're starting to gently nerf some things that are absolutely freaking unreasonable. Even the games that are inexcusably hard and are designed to be hard, that's fine, but I think they still need to hit the right balance of not deterring completely people from wanting to play this game. Because the amount of people who are absolutely hardcore, amazing on dodge rolls, who get a kick out of it, who want to play those kind of games, yes, Dark Souls franchise and Elden Ring and that kind of stuff has big fan bases, but it's nothing compared to people who still just simply want to have fun and want to be rewarded at a slightly higher pace, so to speak, than those who can spend a week beating one boss and somehow still stay motivated and tell themselves that they're being entertained. Most importantly, PoE 1 crowd that has migrated or tries now PoE 2 is not like that. That's the problem. For PoE 1 people, the right build is most important. The knowledge of the game is important. What stats to upgrade is more important. And if you have that right build, if you're following some of the build guides, the right build guides, you're gonna slaughter the game. In PoE 2, it's not gonna happen. That alone is going to create very, very big separation, I think, in the crowds. Also, of course, PoE 2 is unbalanced because it's early access, it's beta, developers are listening. This is not me trying to unreasonably bash them or whatever. But I'm just thinking that some people simply would taste this new cocktail and like, oh, the flavor is a bit off, oh, this and that, yeah, it's a bit exciting, it's a bit this and that, but then they would go back to their pina colada that they've been drinking for a very long time, if you forgive the analogy. They know what they're getting when they order a pina colada. Do you know what I'm saying? So some of us are pina colada people, and some of us experiment on cocktails that might leave you blind, okay? That is a harsh example, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say here. Very different flavors, very different people are going to play that, okay? Also, due to this unbalancing and due to the beta state of the game, even though it's a very solid beta, there is a lot of entertainment to be had, it's amazingly detailed and all that kind of stuff, PoE 2 I'm talking about, I still think that it feels temporary. It's not your character the one that you're going to take all the way to end game. You're going to drop it somewhere. Even the mainstream content creators leveled a couple of characters to the top, and now they don't even bother because the builds are changing, skills are being nerfed. They want to explore wider before they go deeper. That's how I play, for example. That's why I don't bother pushing very, very hard, other than also just having a full-time job and actually having other things to do with my time. So I try to balance, but a lot more people, even mainstream ones, treat PoE 2 as a temporary game, while PoE 1 feels like home, and I miss it. I personally start missing new leagues of Path of Exile 1. And by the way, developers said that there will be new leagues, it's a little unclear at this stage exactly when the next league is coming out, but please rest assured that I'll be covering it for sure and having builds and play it. In fact, I can't wait to go back to PoE 1. I can't wait. You tell me if you're the same or if you just found your new home in PoE 2, because of course there will be a lot of you as well. I already mentioned that PoE 2 is better looking, so if the looks of the game, kind of modern shadows, lighting, other kind of stuff, if that is what keeps you in the game, of course you will find your new home in PoE 2, and PoE 1 is dated. It's dated, but it's cozy and it's like home. So yeah. In terms of the company Grinding Gear Games and their investment into the franchise, I think that they have a plan. They officially announced the plan to upkeep both games. However, they are sort of trying to say that it's going to be 50-50. Oh, yeah, we're going to keep going. However, just even from the amount of money that they got from people buying into the early access, including myself, 50 Australian dollars at the lowest edge of entry, I think that they are going to invest a lot more time, money, resources, people, everyone else, developers I'm talking about, into PoE 2. Content is going to be churned, tuned, they're going to... It's another year and a half, year to year and a half of the team being focused, the Grinding Gear Games team being focused on PoE 2. I guarantee it, no matter what they say. My rough prediction is going to be that 80%, 70 to 80%, 70 if we're lucky, of their resources, investment, time, everything else, focus is going to be on PoE 2 to make sure that that's the new money-making kind of mechanism. While PoE 1 will still be a home for a lot of us, including myself, and they will keep up with it, but the upkeep with it, the keeping the lights on, so to speak, even if they have to release occasional, new leagues and stuff every 3 months, I think it's going to be minimal, and I think it's cheaper. It's much cheaper for them to do because that is all very established. With that in mind, another prediction that I'm making for the future of PoE 2 and future of PoE 1 is that I don't think that we will see any fundamental, groundbreaking, very profound mechanical changes in the future leagues of PoE 1. I do not think so, for this exact reason that I just explained to you. For the reason of investment and where the focus of the team is. They are going to absolutely push hard on PoE 2 to make it better and stuff. Better doesn't mean easier, by the way, that's the next point we'll talk about. But at the same time, I think that when you're peaking at 1 million users in one game and 100,000 stable characters get created still in the old game in PoE 1, I think the answer is transparent to you. They're gonna turn it into a bit better than lights on mode, but it's not going to be massive investment. New leagues are going to come out for Path of Exile 1, but to keep just it a heartbeat. It's going to be like, I don't know, it's not going to basically add item slots or any other profound mechanics. It's going to be much softer, smaller level of iteration on Path of Exile 1. That's my prediction. I could bet money on it, okay? Not a significant amount, but I would bet on it. Okay. And finally, the fun factor. Fun is always very different, So I have fun of exploration. I love Path of Exile 2. I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying tinkering with different builds. Like I said, I'm not pushing hard for the top end. But at the same time, for me, there is a missing element of fun in PoE 2, and that's a fun of mindless dominance of bosses and of the areas of maps. That's how I'm trained on Diablo, on Path of Exile 1, on those classic games. That's how I'm trained to basically have fun by dominating mobs. That's why I play those games, action RPGs. I don't play Dark Souls. It's not my kind of fun. I found it somewhere kinda marginally reminding me of Path of Exile 1, and there are some builds right now that are still built around 1 to 2 buttons. That's what takes us forward. But then, more often than not, you still hit the bosses. They're not even end bosses. And even those promised OP builds, they are not melting them in the mid-game. They gain speed and momentum and strength towards the end game that the more mainstream kind of PoE content creators are talking about. But you need to get there first, and that is a message to beginners or relative beginners. That is why I don't think that a lot of us casuals with a specific attitude towards the game as well as beginners are gonna stick around in PoE 2. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why, and that's who I think will go back to PoE 1. That's my prediction. PoE 2 future is bright, no question. It will create its own audience though. Some of it will be from the old audience of PoE 1 players, but it will be mostly new, in my humble opinion. Now, I ranted long enough. I tried to make it structured, but I still jumped around a little bit. That's just how I record my semi-unscripted videos. Now is your turn. I hope that it resonated, some of it. I welcome all sorts of opinions. You can disagree with me, just let's remain mutually respectful. As always, it's a nice festive season. Let's keep the spirits up. I'm loving PoE 1, I'm loving PoE 2, I love what Grinding Gear Games is doing. I'm a little reserved on the difficulty. I think it's a bit hard still. I predict that as a smaller level of prediction of future of PoE 2 is that there will be further nerfs, but they're not going to nerf it to the ground and turn PoE 2 into PoE 1. No chance. No chance, because by design, these are two very different games, and that will create a rift in the community, if not already. It will only become more obvious that these are PoE 2 players and these are PoE 1 players. So there you go, my friends. These are my thoughts. Keen to hear yours. Enjoy holiday season. We'll keep talking about PoE 2. As soon as PoE 1 new league starts, you will hear from me about PoE 1. So don't go anywhere. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you next time.